hurry up though? He's on right now.
I'll go to the gym. I'll give him a little advice over there.
Why do we still have that board?
Did you sell it?
No, not really.
People don't know I got the buzz in it. You got it.
Thank you.
Let's get a zip wire. We're almost set at the end.
Okay, good. Yeah, just get a couple shots here.
Let me just double check. Does anybody have a problem getting videotaped?
Hey, any of you guys got a problem being on? We like that. We like that. Perfect.
We're just gonna get some nosy stuff, and then we'll come back and do that. We're gonna like close these guys out. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I know how to hang out. Basically,
Did everybody sign? Yeah. Below is nearest third snap. The third snap, he'll be all right. Lower.
Come over there.
Too tight for that. Right below third snap and you're out.
Okay, I kind of want to keep it near the chest, so just for audio quality.
Okay. Still in.
We'll flip this
Hard. Is that sick or what?
Still in?
Still in.
We never think it's zero.
Yeah.
This is stupid.
Put it on the other side that's popped out.
Just like
Now
the
see.
light on the left and the back.
Hi.
Hello. That's sweet.
Sit back.
Well, they like it pretty tight too.
Looks good,
Feels
huh?
so good.
Good stuff. You wouldn't think it's in here.
What if we go?
Hey, nobody would think it's in
That's
this
fine.
stinking garage, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. All right, what are we hearing? That
Oh, that's one of those
Billions?
fans, but it's in the ceiling. One of those.
Oh, right, the chef hat thing that
Is it-
flies around.
I think it's called.
Yeah, if you can undo it. I
Do you
don't
mind? It's going to be hotter than the Dickens in here, but the sound quality will be radically different. So, I don't know what these
That fan right there?
Yeah.
Did you say test 1, 2, 3 again?
Test 1, 2, 3. Hey, how we doing? All right.
Okay, now that's the tone of voice you're going to talk in, like that's how loud.
Okay.
Great. You just stick with whatever is comfortable with you, but is that about where you
Yeah,
talk
that's
normally?
I
Okay,
start getting a
great.
little excited.
All right.
Cool. Let me
That's good.
turn our next tape real quick.
Okay.
So we'll go back to this tape for the ride.
Yeah, I'm fine with
I want the
that.
beat though when it stops.
What do you have, like 15 left on it or something?
It's
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, scroll bars.
Cool. I'm locking another tape, so
Why do they call that beta digital?
I'm gonna have to grab one from Sean.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Do you want me to run out?
I can do it.
Okay. Keep that door open so we don't all die. There's asphyxiation in here.
I think it's
Oh, that's a shame. Oh well. Sorry. You want to hit the fan? Can you hit the fan?
Sure.
Great. Thanks.
Does it work?
Yeah, I think so. We just turned it off because of
Oh,
the sound.
right.
Oh, we're going to thank ourselves for that.
This will be perfect. We'll be riding at the right time of night. Huh?
Good, it'll be pretty. What time do you have?
Just 5, near 5.
5, okay.
That's how we
All
call it.
right. As long as we get on the road like between 6, 6:15, I think we're okay. Yeah.
And like I said, I'll give it the streets so we can go pretty much straight down.
They're pretty wide.
Yeah, they're pretty well streets.
Trying to figure out how to do it real safely, obviously. You'll probably be riding a little slower than you might normally.
Oh yeah, we can do our part. We can do our part
Okay,
in
good,
the
good, good.
program and help plant set freeze on the country.
Okay.
You know, just a good street versions all over. Like tonight, I'm licensing up a couple of other guys. One guy we're sending to Phoenix to start doing the same thing there. San Diego County, we've been doing a lot of work in San Diego County. We're just started another half a dozen places and a couple of ranches. We call them ranches. They're places where we can take 40, 50 guys at a time and get them off of drugs, get them off alcohol.
Right.
Start
pretty hardcore.
counseling, anger management.
So do you just have like this bank of pros that come and
No, almost all of us are people like myself who were there,
Been through it.
and
Probably more
so
effective.
we just very rarely. Most people who are pretty much pros want to stay in that same.
You
Alright.
good?
So, every now and then
Good.
when he lifts his head, you can see just the.
Yeah, the slightest of that.
Yeah.
You know what? That's just the way it is with glasses. Always is. That's
Okay.
fine.
Maybe
Don't
we
worry about it. You
cheat.
do what you do.
Cheat the height just here.
Yeah, that's good. You know what? It always happens, so.
Yeah, I don't want to be too much of a no-show by going high, but.
Okay, yeah, don't.
But then again, we got
That's all right.
mustache
That's all right. Yeah.
to shoot that, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool, love it.
Yeah.
Love it, be it.
Yay.
And
All
we
right.
are rolling.
We always start with, if you can tell me your name and spell it for me, so that we know how to put it onto the, it's like a Chiron little title thing. So go ahead.
Hi, my name is Phil Aguilar, P-H-I-L-A-G-U-I-L-A-R.
Okay. And what's your title? What should we say underneath? Should we say 100% soldier set free? What should we say?
Leader of Set Free Worldwide Ministries.
Is it Motorcycle Ministries or?
It's Set Free Worldwide Ministries kind of is a whole umbrella covering over everything.
Okay.
If we want to focus it just on the motorcycle
Yeah,
part,
let's.
then I'm international president
Of the Motorcycle Ministries.
of Soldiers Motorcycle Ministry. International president, Soldiers Motorcycle Ministry.
That's great. Okay, that's what we'll go with. Okay, now if you can tell me your name, don't spell it, and tell me your title.
My name is Phil Aguilar, and I am the international president of Soldiers Motorcycle Ministry.
Tell me, what is the Motorcycle Ministry? What is that?
Well, back when I started the whole Set Free thing in 1982, I did it for the purpose of reaching out to what I call the one percenters, the people that just didn't seem to fit into the normal church or the normal group of people. They were kind of a square box fitting into a round, hole type situation. And I always felt like that all my life. So I wanted to start a ministry, a tool, an outreach to reach out to people like myself who got, always ended up with the hippie scene or the punker scene or something that was a little bit, one percenter, completely different from everybody else. And so that's what it is. It's just a big extension of reaching out worldwide to anybody who feels like they're a freak or a weirdo or strange or very unique or whatever it might be, but they feel like they're a one percenter.
Okay, let's back up and talk about how you got involved in this in the first place, and why do you think you're a one percenter? Like, what's your background?
Okay, my background, I grew up in typical downtown Animalheim, as we called it, growing up as a kid in beautiful Orange County behind the orange curtain here, and I was a dark Mexican kid growing up in a place called Anaheim before Disneyland was around, and we referred to it not as only as Animalheim, but we called it Clanaheim because there was so many white people. And it was a very strange thing. All my friends were going to the beach and stuff like that, so I ended up hanging out, going to the beach, assimilating with them. They'd bleach their hair, it would go blonde, mine would go orange. And immediately I saw it was a little bit different, a little bit strange. My mom and my 5 brothers and a sister, all of us got moved to this part of Anaheim because my mom and dad wanted to see us have a good life. The neighborhood we came from was a totally gang neighborhood where everybody grew up, went to prison. And so they wanted it to be different for me and my brothers and sister. But what happened is, you are who you are, and as a young person, in life, when my mom and dad got divorced, when I was just about 12 years old, that kind of set things off. My dad left, my mom had to go to work, so I'm home with a big old family. I'm the oldest of the 6 of us kids, and I'm kind of pissed off at the world, and so I just started, doing what I needed to do to make some money. I needed some love from friends, so started a little gang called the Ollie Street Crew Gang, and started graffitiing up places, started, fighting a lot and just being violent. And because of that, my whole life from the time I was about, 12 years old till the time I was 28 years old was just nothing but violence and drugs and, just wandering out there lost. So finally, when I was 28, and I ended up in state prison because of drugs and violence, it was there that I had time to really think about my life. And I said, man, when I do get out, I want to make a difference and help other people out. So that's the reason and the whole concept of why it's set free. You know, you shall know the truth, the Bible says, and the truth will set you free. I wanted to help set people free so they didn't have to go through all the madness that I went through. I wanted my kids to be different than I was, and a lot of times parents want to buy their kids stuff they didn't have. Me, I wanted to see them have a brain. I wanted to see them to think. I wanted to see them have a real life and just enjoy the life without all the drugs and violence. That's the reason I started Set Free.
So tell me, you're in prison and you're incarcerated in state prison, and you come to this realization. What do you do then? Do you start like talking to people? Are they going to laugh at you? You know, it's kind of hardcore in prison. It seems like it's sort of taking a huge risk to suddenly come out almost and say, you know what, I believe in God and I'm changing my ways. But how did you go about that, and what were people's reactions?
Well, first off, nobody, including my own family, believed that I really changed. Even when I told them, hey, I found God and He's made a difference in my life, because they're looking all the way back to me, as 12, 13 years old, nothing but drugs. They're looking back at me and seeing me not only be in a gang, but starting my own gang. And then I started another group called the Sardonics, which means death by laughter. And I tell people I was around before they had anger management classes. I went around angry all the time, and like Rage Against the Machine. I felt that kind of rage against the whole system, and I just, I was blaming God. Why did He take away my dad, or why my family broken up? I had nobody to really go listen to. I didn't see any Christians who were out in the street, because, when I thought of a Christian back in my early days, I thought of Pat Boone or some lame, clean-cut, all-American white boy that I didn't want to have anything to do with. So nobody really would listen to me at first at all. And they saw me grow up, and they saw me, like I said, just be so mean and nasty and violent to people, that when I gave myself over to the Lord in Chino State Prison, I had to do it just for me. And I went back to my cell, and I started reading my Bible, and I started learning more about myself, and where I came from and where I was going and what I was going to do with my life. And so at first, I didn't really start going telling anybody about the change that happened, because it is difficult in there. There's a lot of people who go for God when they're locked up, and they use them as a crutch, and a lot of jailhouse Christianity and all that kind of stuff. I didn't want to be one of those kind of people. I wanted to, when I do something, I want to do it 100%. And I knew I was a 1%er, because, everybody that I seemed to attract into my life were always scandalous felons, whether they were king cobras or queen cobras. Everybody. I was a magnet for people that wanted to rob, steal, and destroy. And I was always scamming something. There was always some kind of a maneuver, or a motivation, hidden agenda behind even doing something good. So I knew I had a lot of evil that I had to work out. And my first few months, as I started reading that Bible, and I was reading it now not as a book of religion and a bunch of rules, but as a love story, finding out that God loved me, and that He wanted to help me out, and that He wanted to give me peace of mind. And a few months later, after reading that Bible every day, I started getting peace of mind, locked up in a prison cell, man. And I started getting high, and I was used to getting high on all the drugs, but now I was getting high just on life. And I'd go into the chow hall, and my cellies and my partners in there would trip out, because I'd be thanking God for my food. And I mean, some lame-looking food, but I'm being thankful, and I was getting mentored by the prison chaplain there, and I really didn't care what anybody else thought, because I remember the first guy that ever approached me and goes, hey, do you really mean that stuff with that Jesus? I remember telling him, I go, you know what? You better hope I mean it, because if I get out of fellowship with God, I'm going to go beat your ass in, And that was my attitude even as a young Christian. And I never have liked that sweetie pie, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus the sweet, looks like a surfer going down the beach pictures that they put up of. I never bought into that whole story. And even though when I got out of prison, they tried to put a suit on me and tried to make me, some preacher, I never bought that stuff, because when I read the Bible, I read about Jesus, who cleared out the temple. I read about disciples like Peter, who after walking with Jesus for 3 years, he had a big shank and stuck somebody, cut a guy's ear off, you know. I read about the sons of thunder in the Bible who called down fire from above to smoke somebody. I read about guys like King David in the Bible, you know, who even on his dying bed there, he told his son Solomon, hey, I want you to take care of this guy, man, who did me wrong, and take care of this guy. I saw them as real people. Religion and church, you just think of stained glass windows, you think of sweet people like Schuler, and I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I've never been able to relate to those kind of people. I tried to relate to those kind of people. It's never happened. Don't believe it would ever happen. And Set Free, I've tried to help make it a place for people like myself. And I found out there's a lot of us out there. There's a lot of us out there. Maybe not that many, but there's a lot of us.
Tell me about sort of what it's like to be a member of a gang, because I think that there is a certain feeling of camaraderie, family. There are guys looking out for you. There's somebody watching your back. You're getting something that you may not be getting otherwise. Sadly, there's this other side to it as well, which is the violence and drugs and life of crime and incarceration or death at a very young age usually. But tell me, like, how did you make that transition? First tell me sort of what gang life is like, and then how you transitioned in.
Well, you know, when we started our first gang, we didn't even think about it as a gang, like we are a gang, you know. But we were a gang. There was a group of about 10 of us, and we would just hang out in the street corner, and there'd be the older ones saying, hey, smoke this, drink this, you know, take away the pain, because I had nobody to talk to about my pain, about my dad being gone, and how much I loved him, cared about him, about my mom, and how I felt about her, about my brothers and sister, and all that kind. I had nobody to talk to. We didn't have some insurance program at some workplace where you get, you know, talked to like that. In school, they didn't have some counseling center going on. But we were a little gang, and the reason that we started this gang is the same reason people join gangs today. It's for love. And we're looking for love, looking for somebody who felt the same pain. And all my friends were coming out of a divorced family. All of my friends were hurting just like, they could understand how I felt. You know, I didn't have a dad sit there and say, hey son, I want to talk to you, I love you, please. I didn't have anybody like that, but I had my friends who were there for me. And they might not have said, hey, I love you in the sense that a dad would to a son, but they said it in a sense by their actions. Somebody messed with me, they were there to hurt them and take care of them, and I love that. They showed in their best way, and I showed in my best way. Hey, you're my friend, I'll steal for you, I'll rob for you, I'll hurt somebody for you. We have family, and we made a new family, and gangs are exactly the same today. It's needing love outside of that family, because a lot of families at home, like I says, you know, if they're rich people, they drop off their kids at a place at 6 in the morning and pick them up at 8 at night. If they're poor people, you know, they're working all the time, so they don't get to see their kids, and almost everybody comes from a family that's a single parent, mom's on drugs, dad's in prison, whatever it might be. Everybody needs love, and every gang is based that way, and in 2003, nothing's changed. I work with gang members every day, and they're still looking for a place to fit in, a team. And society doesn't like anybody being a gang, but you know, when you got money, you're a gang for the Dodgers, or you're a gang for the Lakers, and you know, you're representing somebody, and that's all we were representing, man. We had our little group there, the Ollie Street crew. We lived on Ollie Street there. We had a little group of us, and when we got ready for junior high school, we needed protection there because, you know, people were initiating people, they called it that time. They'd be jumping people. And so that's when we started realizing, hey man, you know, let's not worry about getting hurt. Let's make sure we get 7, 10 of us at a time jumping 1 or 2 guys, because we're not going to let our people get hurt. And we did everything as a group. That group gang mentality started out there. And our initiations back in those days are a little bit different than they are now. But we did the same things in some ways, you know, when it came to violence, jumping them in, you know, showing violence to them. They had to stand up. If they were a rat, they got beat up. If they told the cops on somebody, they got, you know, I watched a whole lot of violent things happen to people. We didn't shoot people in those days, but we hurt people in those days. We always had knives, we always had chains, we always had whips, you know, things that we used for violence in. But it's just, a gang has always been just looking for love, looking to be part of something.
Tell me more about that initiation. Some people might not know what jumping in is, believe it or not, but we're in LA, everybody does. But tell me about, I mean, you were saying that that's what they used to do. Tell me a little bit more if you can elaborate about initiation.
Yeah, just the same thing like today. If a person wanted to be part of any gang today, when they get to be part of that group, their first thing they are is like in the biker world, they're a hangerman to be part of that group. First, they just kind of finding out how your personality, how you are, and then, like I said, anytime you're going to be in a gang, any real gang, you know, you're going to be asked to do some kind of scandalous type things. And a lot of these youngster gangs, I mean, they test everything by violence right away, you know, and they jump you in physically, which means that a whole group of them start beating on your head, start kicking you. They're not trying to kill you, but what they want to do is just give you such a beating that you know that you paid a price, you earned something. They want you to feel good about it too, that you earned something. And in a lot of biker groups, like I said, groups that I work with and stuff like that, we do things a little bit different like that. We don't do it the same way, some youngster way, but we expect that you're going to earn your colors, you're going to earn your patch, you're going to earn your stripes, and you're going to do some missions. These missions, I can't say what they are, but you got to take care of some business, you got to be a foot soldier, and you got to, you know, take some orders and learn to go here when we say go here, or go there when we learn to say go there. But it's always proving yourself. And that's one thing that's inherent, especially in young men growing up, like I said, is they want to prove themselves. They didn't have a dad to be able to prove themselves to, or my mom, or society didn't want to do it, but they've got some friends that they've met there, and they like being able to go on a mission and accomplish it. And sometimes they're illegal missions, sometimes they're violent missions, but hey, it's got to be done if you want to be part of any group. People want to be on a top football team, they got to get out there and take a hit and do everything like that. It's nothing a little different on the streets, except for maybe it's a little bit violent, maybe it's a little bit rough, maybe some weapons come into play, but hey, you know, you play, you pay, you got to realize that, you know, you get caught, you got to do time. But the initiations always have, always will be, and they're different for every type of gang, every different type of group, but you got to pay some way. And like a lot of places, they call it blood in, blood out. A lot of times it's blood in, no outs. You know, our group, like I says, there ain't no way out but shame, even in our own Christian motorcycle ministry that we do, because we want people that are willing to pay the price. We want people to cut above. They need to be soldiers. That's why we're called set-free soldiers, servants for Christ, because we want people who are going to be soldiers, and people know how to go here, go do this, take care of business here. And we don't always tell everybody what the business is. You know, it's between us and the people and our own little club that we take care of, and but we expect people to take care of business.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you tell me what you do for initiation? Is that, or whatever you can tell me about you guys?
Yeah, I'm really not at liberty because it's all private, so I can't make a comment on what exactly we do, but believe me, they pay the price to get in our group. They pay the price to get in our group. It's no easy initiation, but yes, there is an initiation to get into set-free soldiers. I mean, and you pay with your life, and I can't give any details on it because it's you know, it's our own code that is just private between the brothers that are part of this group.
The story that we're covering is about initiation specifically. I don't think it's a true story. No one's ever been able to prove it, but it supposedly did start with the Hells Angels, with the motorcycle club, where if someone flashed their lights at you, you know, like to turn on your headlights, you know how sometimes you'll flash your lights? The motorcyclist would follow you home and kill you. Now, I think that it speaks to our fear of gangs, of people who look a little different. Motorcycle gangs, especially when they started, were the big scare, probably in the 50s, I'm guessing.
Right.
And this story has been told and retold. It came up again not long ago with supposedly, you know, it was a gang thing on the freeway. If, you know, don't flash your lights at anybody because they may follow you home and kill you. All false, never happened. However, it does speak to something that most people in society are fearful of. Tell me about that legend, if you think that that was ever used as an initiation in a motorcycle gang, since you do know motorcycle gangs pretty well. Tell me what you think about the legend.
Yeah, the legend and the myth is always greater than the truth. And I've been writing since the early 60s, and I've got to see what I call the big three motorcycle groups on the West Coast, or the Hells Angels, the Mongols, and the Vagos. They're the big groups that I knew growing up, and I've heard these same stories and tales, and this initiation and that, but I've never seen any truth to it. All myth. But there's some truth when whenever you deal with a motorcycle group, for instance, like the Hells Angels, there's a lot of respect. Everybody has a lot of respect. I mean, law enforcement officers have a lot of respect when they deal with the Hells Angels. People on the street have a lot of respect because they know that anybody who has that patch, or anybody who has that Mongols patch or that Vagos patch, has earned it. They know that they've not just said, "Hey, I want to be a member." It doesn't happen like that. They've had to earn it in some way, and every one of those clubs has their own certain guidelines that they go by, and I have wonderful friends in each of those groups, and I've seen them. I've been part of what they do and great charity benefits, and but they're not Boy Scouts. They have some people in their clubs that get involved and get busted for things here and there. But I know a lot of the leadership in those groups, and there's some great men, great character, and then there's a lot of different characters. And
But does the initiation ever involve violence against people who are innocent? I think that's the big fear.
I don't believe that I've ever known any of these clubs, or at all, the Hells Angels or the Mongols or the Vagos, to ever use violence for some initiation. I think that is the biggest myth that's been going on for so long. I think it's probably put out by the FDA or the FBI or the ATF or one of these local groups. I really believe it's put out by these guys who like to write books about how mean and horrible they are. Because there's a few scandalous characters in all these groups.
But you're saying that it's not violent, but they do violence to get. The initiation is violent. It's just not violent to outsiders. Or?
I don't believe there's any violence to get into their clubs. I don't believe there's any violence to get into their clubs. I believe that whatever they do, pay their dues, ride a bike, pull a wheelie for a mile, whatever their own particular club, like I said, has to do. I believe that that's just a big false myth that they have to do some violent thing to get in.
How about you guys? You don't have to do anything violent.
No, we don't do anything violent at all, if possible, in life, except for, like I said, if we're protecting our own, and we're there, and like for instance, we've had times when there's been skinheads who went after Jewish temples and did swastikas and all that stuff. We rose up and went and rode out there and hunted them down and looked for them and says, "You mess with them, you're messing with us." So we've done our challenges and stuff like that. But I think that in the biker world it's different. I think we give respect, and I think all what they call outlaw biker groups, they give respect. As long as nobody disrespects them, they don't mess with them. A lot of the gangs that are coming along nowadays, street gangs, I believe that in some of those gangs, they might just do violent things, just to be idiots, just to get out there and try to make a name. But the biker world has been around for a long time. It's so much more mature. It's such a good hardcore one percenter where, it's just not you. It's, you're riding your Harley, you're going down that highway, and you put a patch on you. You're out there fronting yourself out there, so you're not going to do some of the stupid things that just street gangs kids who got no sense at all.
So why do you think, let's back up a little bit, and I know you already said it, but tell me again, why do you think that urban legend was started like that? It was supposed to be the Hells Angels following you home and killing you. Who do you think started that, and why do you think? Is it like a cautionary tale to warn us to stay away from these guys that look a little scary with tattoos, or what do you think it's about?
Yeah, well, the Bible says man looks on the outward, but God looks on the heart. I think back in Hollister, California, back in the days when Hells Angels and motorcycle clubs were getting going, and you had the group called the Booze Fighters and all these different people, and you started hearing stories. People just love to make up stories. They like to make it bigger than life. And even when our own group pulls in someplace, we have people all the time, who are not educated on bikers, and they'll go, "Oh man, they're Hells Angels pulling in," just because we're riding a bike. And if we have 10 of us, they'll say it's 100 of us. People just live in such fear. They're just scared of their own shadows so much that they right from the beginning, they made up stories, you know, and they'll make it seem like there's millions of them all over and the aliens are coming. I really believe it's just because the society we live in is so afraid, so scared. The news perpetuates it all the time. Like I said, there's violent people in every group. But, you know, these bikers and the stories that they made and all that stuff, man, just myth. And just scared people did it. People who just, like it was mentioned, you know, you see a guy looks a certain way, so you think he's got to be evil. He's got to be talking about something. Sometimes I'll be standing out in front by my bike talking to somebody from some club, and we're talking about his wife and kids and that. But if somebody rode by, they might think, hey man, they're probably doing a dope deal or they're planning this. You know, people just love to judge by outward appearance, and so they see a group of guys that come looking, you know, scary looking, and believe me, first time that I went to it's called a national reunion of Hell's Angels back in the early 70s. I went with a friend of mine named Fat Ray. He's went on to heaven now, but this friend of mine, Fat Ray, took me to Ozarks in Omaha, Nebraska. And I went to my first Hell's Angel reunion. And here I was, a young biker guy off the street, never rode with a outlaw club or anything, but man, I saw these guys from all over, man, and I mean, I just tripped out. I'd never seen so many tattoos all over faces and rings on noses and all that stuff. But man, you know what? Hey, they all treated me with great respect, and it was an honorable time. I had a wonderful time. I was probably one of the biggest troublemakers there, you know. And so, hey, just a lot of times people, who you are, that's the way you get treated.
Great. Sorry, I want to make sure that the ring click isn't driving you nuts. It's totally fine.
Yeah,
You
it's
would
not
tell
by
me.
me. He's
You'll tell me.
over it.
This is good. You're doing great.
Thanks.
How are we doing here?
We've got 5 more minutes.
Okay, you're doing great.
Thanks.
But today's gangs are different.
I think today's gangs are a whole lot different because life isn't worth that much to a lot of people nowadays. You have people coming from, you know, in my days, right here in Orange County, you were either a Chicano, a Mexican from here, or you were a white person, or you were black. You know, now you have people from El Salvador, Puerto Rico, you know, from Nicaragua. I mean, people mix from all over the world with different values, different beliefs, and so you have, they call it a melting pot, but I call it a, you know, a messed up pot, because everybody's coming here together, and you know, they're still loving their country, but they're coming here for money or this or that. And then they've started all these little gangs and little different things, and some people got some different culture backgrounds. I mean, there's some groups here locally, man, who cut people's fingers off for initiations in gangs, you know. I mean, there's groups who, you know, don't mind shooting their families with children, you know. There's some people, like I said, who are just plain racist just because the person's black, because the person's white, or because they're this color.
Tell me about the finger cutting.
Well, like I said, there's some groups who are mayhem people all the way, and in their country, I won't name their country, but like I said, they have a different way they feel about violence. There's definitely some countries, like I said, that are used to it. They grow up as a young child, more used to seeing heads blown off, this and that. So when they come over here and they start a little gang for protection and stuff like that, they want to get some attention, they want to get some love, they want to get what's called respect. So I've seen gangs do everything, like I said, from just, you know, cutting people across the face to cutting fingers off to, you know, to the regular old gang stabbings where they just do some kind of homemade knife and stick them all over the place, you know.
Is that the Yakuza? Is that what it's called? The Yakuza who do that finger thing?
I
can't remember.
don't know who.
Somebody had just told me about that recently. That's why I
Yeah,
asked.
I don't-
Do we need to change tape? We're gonna change tape really quick, and I just have a couple more questions.
Sure.
You're doing great. How are you guys doing? Are you
I'm
roasting here?
fogging up my.
Things that you guys do. What kind of group? You know, I want to talk a little bit more about Set Free, and the guys that are outside. Just tell me who they are, 'cause they look scary. Yeah, I mean,
You up to that?
Yeah,
yeah, thank you. Oh, we're sharing this.
I guess.
Nice.
it'll be back.
Goodbye, fan. You know, you were talking about how society you know, it's really easy to sort of vilify anybody who looks kind of scary. You guys are covered in tats. This is a scary looking bunch out here. Tell me about who is out there, who's in your group, why do they look the way they do, and what kind of reaction do you get from people when they come across a big old group of 30 guys with bites and tats and nose rings and, you know.
Well, in Southern California here on the West Coast, because things are different, a little different places, like I said, but in Southern California here, Set Free Soldiers, our servants group here, we get together and we're always looking, first off, trying to help people who got drug problems or violent troubles like that. Of course, we like the biker community. I mean, it's one of our loves because we love to ride bikes. We love to go down to Venice Beach, or we're heading down Dago area. We just love to ride together. That's our camaraderie. I mean, you know, even though we're married with children, a lot of these guys are married. Some of them are single. Some of them are just youngsters still thinking about getting married. But the camaraderie, once again, it's a brotherhood. We are. And I'll do things for partners of mine who are in the Hells Angels. You know, do marriages for them, or help out at a funeral. I've helped out at funerals for them. You know, I mean, anything I can do because I've got so many good brothers in there. We have friends, like I says, with the Mongols group out here, who is a real big group out here. You know, some good brothers in there. We try to help them out anyway. Same with the Boggles. Those are the big groups that are on the West Coast here. We get with them, and a lot of our guys either hung out with that groups, or were part of those groups, or they came out of some street gang, or they just came out of some violent lifestyle, or they were just messed up on drugs all the time. They come from every different type of area. But our camaraderie comes first off, like I said, because we ride bikes. And then secondly, but just as important, now we're looking at God for help. You know, we're getting strength from God. You know, we're not just doing AA or NA, which are good programs, but we're doing a Christian program. But we're, like I said before, we're not doing a Christian program like some churchy type typical thing. No, we come dressed as we like to come dressed, man. You know, it don't matter about hair or tattoos or stuff like that. And all of our guys that ride here, I mean, they're actually our ushers, and they see people at church. Like, you go to a typical church, they'll be wearing a little, you know, blazer jacket with a little sign over here, you know, that says, "Hi, I'm your usher," or something like that, you know, and they got the polyester clothes on and stuff. And, you know, that's cool. But like I said, here, these guys, man, they're ushers there, and they help see people, greet people, pray with people, and then we get them out to other chapters that we have. We got them in Dago, we got them in Montana, we got them in Maryland, we got them in New York, and, you know, different states and in different countries now. We have them in Beijing, China, different places where we meet people that want to be like a Set Free group. And so our guys come from every background of life. A lot of them came from violent backgrounds. Some belong to some gang, some just are straight business type people, but they got a lot of anger problems like that. So they try to get involved with us now. We're all following the Lord to the best that we can. And there's no doubt when we go riding in places, the first thing the restaurant doesn't say is, "Oh, what a bunch of nice Christian guys." That's the last thing that they say. But we hope before we leave that establishment that they go, "Man, you know, hey, that was kind of like the Lone Ranger, man. You know, they wore their mask and looked kind of scary, but you know what? Hey, him and Tana were pretty good guys, you know." And we hope we leave some kind of good impression, because we especially love our biker community first. I mean, we love all of our biker friends from outlaw clubs, from this club, that club. We like guys who ride, meet them at runs here and there. And then we like regular citizens, you know, people who are just, you know, Joe Lunchboxes who go to work every day. We try to help them out in any way we can.
Tell me about some of the stuff that you guys do, some of the different activities. I know that these aren't really activities, but some of the services you do. You were talking about detoxing, you help people. How do you recruit? How do people find out about you? Tell me sort of step by step without going into great detail.
Yeah, well, basically, anywhere we go, our guys carry little cars, you know, represent who they are. They go, "Hey, where are you guys from?" You know, people are very inquisitive about it. Anybody, "Hey, nice bike, where you get? Where's that club? Is that a Christian club?" Whatever. Give them a little card and tell them, "Yeah, come on down there." So we just kind of by word of mouth. And then people just gotten to know us because we ride everywhere, and they heard about this group, and they know they're about positive things. And then there's those who go, "Man, I don't know, it looks like a cult. It looks like some radical scary group, but they're up to something. We know they're doing drugs or something. We got that, but we don't care. We like that too, you know. That's good, you know, because we don't want everybody coming to our ministry, you know. It's a private group there, but basically by word of mouth and just people knowing. And then we have people who tell people all over the country. And we have people who call us about their teenage kid over there, you know, in Wyoming. They're calling, hey, can you help? Because they know we really specialize working with young people, you know, because young people have always kind of, who are outlaws, always respected bikers are kind of original outlaws. They were around before, you know, all these other gangs were going on. Bikers have been around for a long time, so they listen to us. And we go into schools, public schools, and speak, and you know, my kids do their hip hop music, you know, and they reach to them. So we got a lot of younger people with us too in our club, so they're able to share with them, you know, hey, you know what, you can be cool, you can be radical, but you don't have to be involved in drugs or violence.
What's the best part of what you do for you?
For me, man, I get high on the Lord, watching people's lives change. I got the most awesome wife in the world who's different background, but she's wonderful. All my kids serve the Lord with me. I just love that they do it on their own. And then the friends I got, it's the coolest thing, riding down that highway and being with some cool friends, and, you know, and then stopping and visiting people and knowing that, hey man, we're out to love people, you know, and we're not out to hurt anybody, but knowing, man, you know what, hey, if something came down, you know, we're going to take care of business because we're a family. We are a family of God, but man, you know, the funnest thing is just having friends, real friends that are there when you're up on top, and they're there when you're on the bottom, man. And I've been with some of these guys, man, they've seen me go through hell in my own life, and so happiness to me is being with my Christian biker friends, and other outlaw friends, and just going to their functions and riding and hanging out, and then watching all my own family, my kids, and now my grandson. I mean, it's the coolest thing on planet Earth.
Are you ever tempted to go back to old ways?
You know what? I'm not much. Not much. I'd be a lie to say that there wasn't fun. The Bible says that sin is fun for a season. And I mean, you know, I'm an older guy, but hey, don't mean that I don't have a chick every once in a while still thinks that, you know, might like to have me as a sugar daddy. And every once in a while somebody pisses me off, I feel like beating their ass all over the street. There's no doubt about that. When it comes to drugs or any of that, I'm finished. I was an old heroin addict, did all that stuff. It's a loser thing all the way. And I've been to prison, done all my jail time I need. I like being out here and stopping at Jack in the Box when I want, or going to Disneyland when I want, and being able to go ride anytime I want. Yes, I'm a human being, so every once in a while I'll think it. But the Bible teaches me that greater is He that is in me than he that is in the world. And I've been standing out for the Lord for 25 years. So I'm no novice, no youngster at this, but I got it every day, you know, every moment of every day. Make sure that I give God control, because, you know, all it takes is you know, one bad choice, and you know, I could be like Kobe. My life could be totally different. One bad night. So yeah, I just gotta, you know, keep myself in subjection, and, you know, stay disciplined in those areas, and keep thanking God for all the good stuff I got.
That's great. Is there anything else you want to add? Because that's the end of the interview.
Hey, that's it.
You did
I'm
really,
fine.
really
I am
great.
fine.
Okay, stay right where you are.
Oh,
And we're going to do something called room tone for 30 seconds.
sure.
Favorite color? My favorite color is blue.
Thank you. I know it's hard because you don't talk this way in normal conversation, you know, it's like clipped. But this is not normal, it's television. Okay.
Can you give me a test 1, 2, 3?
1, 2, 3.
Tell me what you had for breakfast this morning.
I had a cherry Danish and a Starbucks coffee.
Oh, very good for you. Extremely. You're a health conscious man,
Yes.
clearly.
Very.
Okay. You good?
Okay.
All
I'll
right.
the bubbles.
Okay. Okay. We always start by just tell me what your name is and spell it for me.
My name is Lou Cenamo, Cennamo,
And that's L-O-U.
L-O-U.
Okay. What do you want as your title? Do you want, they were saying, what are you thinking?
I'm the president
Okay.
of Soldiers.
Okay, you're president of Soldiers Orange County or?
Except for, yeah, Orange County.
Okay, so what's like sort of the whole thing? It'd be President Set Free Orange County?
Set Free Soldiers, Orange County.
President Set Free Soldiers Orange County? Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Did you catch that? Is that on?
Yeah, we're on.
Okay, good. Okay, so tell me your name, and you don't have to spell it this time, and what you want your title to be.
My name is Lou Senemo, and I'm the president of Set Free Soldiers, Orange County.
Okay, how did you get involved in Set Free? You can just sort of tell me like an abbreviated version. I don't know if you were incarcerated and that's when you heard about it, or how you came to it.
The way I found Set Free was probably back in 1998. I was heavily into heroin and different kinds of drugs. Got saved, got myself clean, tried a bunch of different churches, different kinds of lifestyles, never really fit into the normal routine, and I stumbled into a couple of Servants for Christ in Westminster, California, Westminster Harley-Davidson.
That's great. Tell me about what your life was like before, because it sounds like, you know, being a heroin addict, that can involve a lot of different things. It can involve crime, it can involve incarceration, it can involve all sorts of stuff, violence. So tell me a little bit about your life then, and sort of what it's like now.
My life before now, a lot of stuff I will not comment on, but I was involved in a lot of different things to make money. I was a functioning heroin addict. I went out to work every single day and did various different things to make money. It was a pretty much selfish life. I didn't live for anybody else besides myself. Didn't care about anybody else. Just wanted to feed my addiction and probably my lustful lifestyle and things like that.
Were you ever yeah?
A little bit of traffic noise in that.
That's
Okay.
It's fine. Do you were you in a gang? And if you were, tell me about it.
I grew up back east, across Island Sound in Bridgeport, Connecticut, predominantly Italian neighborhood with different races. Hung out predominantly with only Italian guys, 12, 15 guys. Grew up my whole life that way, so I wasn't really ever officially a gang, but I did have 12, 15 guys that were my brothers that I can call today. Haven't talked to them, some of them in 5, 6 years, and they'd be here for me. So they've always been my family. For them who are going to see me, hello. I haven't seen them in a long time, and that's pretty much how I grew up.
Okay.
That's my lifestyle.
Tell me what it's like being a member of Set Free, because it's a pretty interesting looking group. It looks pretty eclectic. I mean, the one thing that seems to be
Before he answers that,
Yeah.
do you want to grab something to pat him down? So he's
Yeah,
starting to-
perfect.
what do we have?
Want me to get some?
Let's see.
Can you sit up just a little bit?
That's great. Give your forehead a wipe. There you go. If there's anything that you're not comfortable talking about, just tell me. You have to set the parameters, okay? Because I will ask you personal questions, all right?
Okay.
Okay. And if you can also incorporate what I'm asking you into your response. So if I ask you, what color is the sky? Instead of saying blue, say the sky is blue. Because my
Okay.
voice will not be on the end product. Love your example, so I'll use it from here on out.
All right.
Okay. Are we speeding?
We're speeding.
Great. We all start out by, if you could tell me your name and spell it for me so that we can get it right in the little title underneath you.
First and last.
Yeah, please.
D-A-V-I-D, David Bermeo, B-E-R-M-E-O.
Okay, great. Tell me your name and where you stand in this organization.
Dave's my name.
My name's Dave.
My name is Dave, and just a basic patch holder. I don't have an officer position, I just take orders.
Okay, tell me what it's like to be a member of Set Free and how did you end up in this group?
Being a member of Set Free is very busy, and it can either drive you crazy or make you humble. You have a choice. I ended up here brought by my parents. I was brought up well. They knew, though, it doesn't matter how you bring a kid up. He's going to make his own decisions. I've made some bad ones. I think they figured this is my last chance. So they brought me here, and since then, this has been my family, and that's it.
Were you ever a member of a gang? And if so, tell me what that life was like.
I can't comment on that.
You were not.
I can't count on
Okay,
it.
that's fair enough. Tell me how you think this kind of life with this group is different than being in a gang or the same as being in a gang. Can you talk about that? Similarities or differences, yeah.
Life involved with Set Free, I think, would be very similar to gang in the terms of Set Free gets a lot of respect, as do a lot of the gangs. Set Free gives a lot of respect, like a lot of the gangs. We look after each other. We defend what's ours. You mess with us, you know the rest. We don't look for trouble. We actually quite the opposite. We look to help. It's just, I think a lot of people try to take advantage of people that help, but no, we keep them honest.
I think a lot of people have a sort of a stereotype in their heads about motorcycle gangs, that they're incredibly violent and that they'll be randomly violent to people who are not involved at all. Like, I could just be driving along and somebody could come and kill me. Can you comment on that and why you think people kind of are scared of motorcycle gangs?
I think people are afraid of motorcycle gangs mostly because of appearance. As far as violence and outlaw gangs, most of the outlaws I know are real nice people, and I could never see them doing violent things. Whether it happens or not, I don't know, but as far as the time we spend with them, they're just as loving with their brothers as we are with ours.
That's great. Okay, tell me, is there anything else you want to add about how Set Free has changed your life, or whether or not you think you could ever slip back into the old ways?
Set Free has definitely changed my life, just in the sense that it's set up an accountability for me that I choose every day to meet or walk away from. And I can definitely slip up. Anybody can slip up. But the only way out of Set Free is with shame.
Anything you want to add? Okay, you did great. Good job. Hang on, let me get that.
Can you do me a favor and count to 10 for me?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Well done.
In Spanish.
Most of the time when I do that, I need to have a cue card. 7, 8, line.
Huh?
Okay, we got that going. You want to go that way?
Yeah, I don't mind it so much because it's kind of out of focus and
Okay.
framed a bit.
All right, that's
Otherwise,
fine.
we could scoot his chair a little bit.
We're totally fine then. No, let's leave it alone.
Cool.
If you're happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, I
You can quote. Okay?
Alright, and
If you can try to just look at me, not look
Right.
at the lens, and then just do a full, do a full response, get my question into your answer. If you can, don't worry about it if you
All right.
don't. You can stop and redo anything, it's very casual. Okay? So we start out by you tell me your name and spell it for me so that we can get the title right.
Okay. My name is Chill, Chill, Aguilar, Aguilar.
Okay, a member of the family.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
I'm the son.
Okay, so tell me your name and wipe your brow. There you go. You're good. Tell me your name and who you are. You're Phil's son, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
My name is Chill, and I am the son of the legend Phil Aguilar, one of the known people out there. You know, one of the known gangsters in the world. And who I am, I'm in the club, Service for Christ, Orange County Mother Chapter, and basically.
How did you get involved? Did you ever because I don't know how old you were when your dad started doing this, but tell me, did you ever kind of go for the bad boy life first?
Well, my thing is I was raised around every outlaw, every gang member, every mafioso, anything all over the world, anybody you can think of that is, out there. I was raised around them, whether my dad was helping them, whether we were helping them get off drugs, but I was involved with that where I heard their conversations, I kicked it with them, and I had the choice to be a part of it, and I kind of rolled with them for a while, but then, I got a wake-up call, and, totally stayed out of it, and realized I got to stay positive, be a part of something that's good, you know, an organization like, you know, the Servants, you know. So basically I was raised around it, gangs and drugs my whole life, you know, and I for some reason, you know, got above, you know, kept me a little bit straight, and I had a cool dad teaching me like, hey, you want to play? You're gonna, you know, pay one day. So having a dad like that who's been through it, you know, it definitely kept me out of it. But still, as a young person, I was searching for an organization, you know, to be a part of, because still you can see all those things, but you still want to try a little bit or be part of something. Everybody wants to be a part of something, you know. So.
Tell me about the normal gang jumping in. Like, what do gangs do to initiate you?
The normal gangs jumping in, there's a lot of things. I mean, I can't comment on a lot of them, but mostly you get beat. You get beat, you know. I mean, I got people and friends that get in, and you know, you gotta take an ass whooping, you know, and either take an ass whooping or you put in work, you know. It's all about being down for your set, your neighborhood. I mean, it's what you believe in. It's your movement, you know. You gotta make your neighborhood stronger. So, you know, I can't comment on how it's done, but you definitely either get an ass whooping or gotta put in some work, you know.
Is it ever violent to people that are not members of the gang? Like, do you know of any situations where that's part of initiation, is to go and do something violent, a violent crime against other people?
Is it ever known for people that aren't in a gang to have something violent done to them by a gang? You know, I can't really comment on that. You know what I mean? People are innocent bystanders. Everybody, something always happens. A kid always gets hit, or, you know, some, which is always pretty fucked up, but that's how, you know, that's life. And I mean, it's just people, you know, are staying in the wrong place, wrong time. I got friends who have died from gang violence or different stuff and have been at the place, you know, at the wrong time, you know. Nothing personal towards them. The gang wasn't trying to hit them. They were in the wrong way. Bullets have no names on them, and, you know, they came to them. But I don't honestly think they go out looking, you know, to hit somebody that isn't part of a gang, you know what I mean? It's basically you're going after the person that you're going after, but it usually doesn't happen that way all the time.
How do you think Set Free is changing things?
Man, Set Free, if it wasn't for Set Free, I'd be out there, you know? I was raised in it, but still, like I said, we need organization. Young people, that's the problem today. We have nobody, there's nothing to do. You know what I mean? There's too much time, that's why you get drugs, dope, violence, all that stuff. And, you know, Set Free, it became an organization because basically churches, you know, associate us as a gang because the way we have bald heads, we wear black, we ride Harleys. So basically, we're fucked. They put us in that category, and that's why we became an organization. We were a church, you know what I mean? But we had to become an organization and a family because the churches, you know, like Calvary Chapel, different places, you know, they put us in that, you know, where the gang, you know, unit and the gang enforcement of Orange County, they were on the record because they associate us with gangs, you know, so.
So they actually do consider you guys?
Oh yeah, without a doubt, you know. I mean, even as much as I say, hey, you know, we're all about Jesus, you know, we're all about helping. We help more people than anything. I mean, that's what we do. We help dudes get off drugs. We help people be positive and keep their rights, like, you know, their life right. But I mean, basically, they associate us with gangs. They associate us with all different types of shit, you know, whether I say that I'm not. I mean, they pull us over on the streets all the time and fuck with us, but that's, you know, and that makes me more want to be a part of this organization because I know in my life I'm set free. I don't use drugs, I don't use violence unless somebody's trying to bring harm to my people, you know what I mean? But in reality, we're peaceful people, you know, the servants are peaceful people, but no matter what we say, the cops, they always do their shit and Rodney King us, you know what I mean? But that's life, you know, when you roll with the pack and you're different, that's what happens, you know?
Thank you very much. Anything else you want to add? This is the end of the interview.
Man, just, I don't know. Orange County servants are the best, you know. Set Free's the best. That's how I think, you know. Saved my life, you know, through God, so.
That's great. Okay, stay right there. Let's do one more thing in room tone.
Sure.